Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is our regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees El Paso Community College District, and it is being held today, Wednesday, March 26, 2025, 4:35. And this regular meeting will be held, is being held here in the Administrative Services Center located at 9050 Viscount Boulevard, Board of Trustees Room A2000, El Paso, Texas, 79925. And it will be viewable through the EPCC YouTube channel. Refer to the link https://www.youtube.com/user/goepcc. The meeting is called to order. Can we have, let's see, Dr. Smith lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we do the roll call?
Roll call. Mr. Uxer.
Oh, yeah, he's here.
Mrs. Robles.
Here.
Ms. Nájera will not be here. Mr. Mendez.
Here.
Dr. Graham.
Here.
Mr. Haggerty is running late today. Item 1.4, approval of minutes. There is none. Item 1.5, welcome to guests and staff members.
And welcome. We have a nice group here today.
Item 1.6, open forum. There is none, Dr. Graham. Item 1.7, presentations by individuals, groups, and organizations. Item 1.7.1, Mr. Scott McIntyre, thank you. Managing Director of Hilltop Securities Asset Management, LLC, will present the endowment fund investment strategy.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Let's see, is this gonna appear, or do I need to do something? I know it's loaded.
There it is.
Aha. Okay. All right, and just so you guys know, there's a lot going on in the market right now. There's a lot going on in the economy right now. There was some concern, rightfully so, that inflation was going to spike, and yields moved a little bit higher on that, and the Fed is on hold because there's so much uncertainty. And there's been a real turn in terms of expectations for the economy. Now, investors in the market are positioning themselves for a recession, and that is related entirely to the tariff threat, to be honest with you. Nothing else. There's a lot of uncertainty with businesses right now. If you were a business, you would be disinclined to spend and invest and buy new equipment. As a consumer, you're worried about your job. You are concerned basically about the economy going forward, so you're not spending. There's a lot going on. We also have businesses have imported a tremendous amount in front of tariffs, and exports have also fallen. And all of those together, and of course government spending has also been reduced in the first quarter. All those together mean that economic growth right now is trending, according to the Atlanta Fed's GDP Now measure, at negative 1.8%. I don't think it's going to be negative for the first quarter when all's said and done, when all the numbers are in, but definitely has been a slowdown in the economy. So interest rates are not too far off from where they were. The Fed, again, is on hold. The expectation is that at some point they will more likely cut rates in the second half of the year than raise rates, but the Fed doesn't know what it's going to do, so it's going to have to take a cue from the administration, as will the rest of the world. As far as the endowment is concerned, pardon me, this is actually helpful. There's a Bloomberg survey that comes out once a month where they survey 80 odd economists, well, 80 economists, not odd economists. And I think it's really interesting. If you look at GDP expectations for the next 6 quarters, The economists don't know either, so they're all glumming around this central tendency of 2% growth. And that goes out for almost 2 years. The unemployment rate, they expect, it's currently at 4.1%. They expect it'll move up to 4.2. That really is kind of a bailout, in my opinion. They're basically not wanting to make a prediction. They believe the Fed will cut rates starting in the summer and cut by a quarter point in the third quarter and a quarter point in the fourth quarter. And then it'll basically stay near 3.5%. I think all of that could change within a day or a week. So I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock in that. I do think that, holy smokes, get into the investment strategy. What we want to do, even though rates have been generally staying put, and we have had some issues with the safekeeping agent getting everything set up, I believe that things are set up at this point, so this is going to look somewhat similar to what I presented the last time. What I would like to do is invest these monies out along the curve so that we can lock in the cash flow to be able to fund your scholarships going forward. And to the extent that it's possible, I would like to see most of that placed out longer on the curve. So retaining $1.5 million in investment pools or liquid products, I understand that liquid pool rate will generally fall. But I like the idea of having some of this liquid because we're not going to know where things are going to go. And obviously, you're going to have some scholarships to fund initially. $12 million out in $2 million blocks going out 6 to 7 years. The estimated yield there is about 4.25. $12 million out in the 5 to 6 year range. Estimated yields about 4.15. $3 million out in the 4 to 5 year range with an estimated yield of 4. And $3 million out in the 3 to 4 year range with an estimated yield of just about 4%. This moves around a lot. It's actually a little bit higher today than it was when I put this together. Obviously, the higher yields, the more you're going to have in terms of income spun off of that will allow you to fund scholarships. This is a conservative approach. You're not going to be in full faith and credit treasuries instead of other things. We feel like this is the best approach. We don't believe that this puts the principal at risk in any way. And all of these treasuries will have coupons that pay every 6 months. So despite the fact that the securities will be placed out in a ladder going out from roughly 3 to 7 years, you'll get coupon payments regularly that will allow you to be able to fund the scholarships that you're intending to fund. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. I recognize that you guys might have some questions. This is generally a pretty simple, straightforward, conservative, as it should be for your endowment strategy. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's take the third point. Purchase 12 million U.S. Treasury securities in blocks of product. Now, you don't mean that you're going to make one bond purchase for $2 million. Is this you're going to make an aggregate of bonds that will work up to $2 million? Are you going to? Does this say I'm going to make one $2 million purchase?
They would be $2 million blocks. So you would have, that would be one purchase. So in the case of the 6 to 7 years, we'd make 6 purchases in that sector. Probably, roughly every 2 months, so that it would be spread out. But yes, that's the intention.
So they would be a $2 million. A single bond of $2 million. So when you say a block, that's essentially the size of the deal.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions? Sir?
No, we're good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate the information.
Of course. Thank you all very much.
Yes.
Dr. Graham,
Yes, sir.
I would just add that this meets part of the requirement in the resolution for presenting to the board the investment strategy for the Student Success Endowment Fund. So Mr. McIntyre was presenting the proposed investment strategy as required in the resolution. The next step will be at the next board meeting, we'll bring forward a request for an action. If you all are in favor of, to vote on accepting this investment strategy as required by the resolution. Thank you.
And how often will we get this update, sir?
So this update, right now, per the resolution, there's an annual update that is required in September. Every September, the investment strategy and how it's doing will be presented to the board, along with the composition of the portfolio and the performance of the portfolio. So that will be presented every September. If you require more updates, we would be happy to provide that anytime you want.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay. Item 1.7.2, Dr. William Serrata, College President, will recognize individuals who have retired from El Paso Community College.
Dr. Graham and members of the board, as I've expressed in the past, it's always bittersweet to see our employees reach this phase, but we certainly understand and we wish them nothing but the best in their next chapter in life. We're going to begin this evening. We're celebrating the retirement of Leticia Tish Alvarez. Absolutely. After 23 years of service with El Paso Community College, our beloved colleague, Leticia Tish Alvarez, is retiring from her role in the Human Resources Department on March 31st, 2025. Throughout her distinguished career, Tish has been an invaluable asset to the college, making a lasting impact on both staff and faculty alike. Tish joined the EPCC family on February 1st, 2002. Over the years, she has consistently demonstrated exceptional skills and dedication to supporting employees and contributing to the college's mission. She began her career as a benefits assistant, transitioned into a senior benefits associate, and finally became a benefits specialist. She also took the role of an employment specialist services within the Human Resources Department. From her passion for helping others and building a strong rapport with faculty and staff, she brought a wealth of experience in talent acquisition, employee benefit management, and human resources. Tish went above and beyond to answer questions and support EPCC employees as well as retirees. During her time in the benefits office, she worked on several projects, including the Teacher Retirement System of Texas monthly reports, assisting employees with leave, conducting new employee benefit orientations, offering benefits to new and eligible employees, and guiding employees at the end of their careers to retirement. Tish has been open to change and learning new processes to improve the services we provide to our employees. She dealt with employees from the start to the end, from new hires to retirees. In addition to her professional contributions, she has always been a warm and caring presence. She has built strong relationships with colleagues across all departments. As she transitions into retirement, we reflect on her exceptional career and her impact on the lives of those around her. Her dedication to helping others in the college community has been nothing short of inspiring. We wish Tish and all the best in her retirement, filled with relaxation, adventure, and the enjoyment of time spent with family and friends. While her presence will be greatly missed, her contributions will continue to shape the Human Resources Department. Thank you, Tish, for your 24 years of remarkable service. Where are you, Tish? Come on. I know the board's going to want to. Next, we have Ms. Elia Veronica Cabral. She began her, absolutely, you can give her applause. She began her distinguished career at El Paso Community College in 1989, starting as a work study at the Valle Verde campus in data systems under the mentorship of Dr. Carol Kay. Her journey at EPCC has spanned over 3 decades, marked by dedicated service to students, staff, and faculty in various roles across the college. In 1990, Ms. Cabral moved into the Public Relations and Marketing Department, filling in as a secretary under the guidance of Olga Tavares. Then in 1991, she was hired by Tony Sanchez as a student assistant with the Women's Center at the Rio Grande campus. Her next role took her to the registrar's office at Valle Verde in 1992, where she worked as a registration aide under Bonnie Casas, I knew Ms. Casas, by the way, and Martha Campos. Later that year, she joined testing services as a part-time employee, eventually being hired full-time in 1994 as a testing clerk. Throughout her 33 years with testing services, Ms. Cabral worked under the leadership of several exceptional supervisors, including Kay Lambert, Carolyn Button, Gloria Palos, and the late Barbara Hicks, and currently Christy Garza, Director of Testing Services. She became a certified test administrator for various tests such as Accuplacer, TSIA2, CLEP, TOEFL, DSST, GED, and THEA, and assisted with college readiness testing at local high schools. In the last 17 years, her focus has shifted toward working with faculty and students at instructor testing services. Her service in this area and wealth of experience have made her an integral part of the team. In addition to her professional responsibilities, Ms. Cabral was active in campus life. In 1992, she was a Student Government Association member and served as the secretary for the WCCR student radio station. She also participated in the Los Tejanos Mariachi group for many years, bringing her passion for music and community to EPCC. Throughout her time at the college, Ms. Cabral has enjoyed attending staff retreats and building meaningful relationships with colleagues. After 36 years of dedicated service to EPCC, she has decided to retire and embark on a new chapter in her life. She looks forward to taking a well-deserved cruise and continuing her interests in ceramics and line dancing through EPCC's continuing education programs. El Paso Community College and Testing Services will never forget Ms. Cabral for her commitment, hard work, and the positive impact she made throughout her career. We wish her all the best in her retirement. And finally, we have Ms. Debbie Toynes. She has proudly dedicated nearly 50 years to supporting the students, faculty, and staff of El Paso Community College. Originally from Austin, Texas, she began her journey at EPCC in 1976 as a part-time telephone operator at the Trans Mountain campus. In 1980, she transitioned to a full-time role in the telecommunications department, working at all campuses except the Mission del Paso campus. In her role, Debbie contributed to EPCC's mission by training employees in effective telephone etiquette and new communication systems. Later, she took on a program assistant position at the Technology Resource Center, where she focused on modernizing processes, scanning and electronically uploading grades for faculty, and providing training to ensure a seamless transition to new systems. In 2019, she moved to EPCC TV, where she currently serves as an administrative assistant. A proud graduate of Andrews High School, Debbie achieved her Bachelor of Arts in Social Psychology from Park University while balancing 2 jobs. Her dedication extended beyond EPCC, as she also supported military students as a computer lab assistant at Webster University. Debbie has been an active advocate for her colleagues serving as Vice President of the Classified Staff Association at the Valle Verde campus and as a member of the Rights and Responsibilities Committee, where she addressed workplace concerns and planned campus events. Her extensive involvement in numerous EPCC committees highlight her wealth of knowledge and experience. Today, Debbie looks forward to dedicating more time to travel and family. She dreams of revisiting destinations like China and Mexico as she embraces this exciting new chapter. Congratulations and thank you for nearly 50 years of service, Ms. Toynes. Please, you go ahead.
Boy, that's a lot of experience combined. Congratulations again to all our retirees, and we hope to see you at the retirees events.
Okay.
Item 1.7.3, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association.
I'm glad I got here just in time.
I would have been highly disappointed if you hadn't been here. Judge Haggerty, I look forward to your comments. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming. Earlier this semester, an issue came up. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but it's a rather controversial issue among the faculty. A lot of faculty felt very passionate about it, I myself included. I felt it was something we didn't need, but something that was going to happen. And when it came up, I encouraged faculty to send their comments in to institutional effectiveness during the 21-day review period. And a lot of faculty did, and they were they were very passionate about it. And they had some good suggestions. And eventually, just recently, administration, members of the administration, working with myself as faculty president, working with the presidents of the classified and professional staff, we came to a conclusion that I hope everybody is satisfied with. I know I am. So I would like to thank now President William Serrata, Vice President Smith, AVP Field, who's back there somewhere, and Director of Institutional Effectiveness, Yvette Huerta, for helping us get through this rather sometimes difficult controversy. But so, yeah, thanks for coming together and listening to the voices of faculty and coming to a conclusion. So thanks again. Appreciate it.
Section 1.8, Communications. Item 1.8.1, Discussion and Review regarding data, statistics, policies, and general information related to El Paso Community College by the Board of Trustees.
Chair Haggerty and members of the board, I have asked Dr. Carlos Amaya to provide the board with an update on spring 2025 enrollment. I want to thank Dr. Amaya and all of his team for the great work that they've done. As you go through it, we are at the highest point on spring enrollment that we've been since the spring of 2020, which was the first term of the pandemic. Again, Dr. Amaya and his team did great. Also want to recognize and thank Dr. Amaya for the baseballs that you all are receiving. It's the 30th anniversary of the baseball team. By the way, the baseball team is 25-7 at this point. They are having a great season. Many thanks to Coach Susi and all of the coaches for the great work that they're doing. But Dr. Amaya, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Serrata. I'll just jump, before I start here, I'll just let everybody else know. Baseball's on the road this week at New Mexico Junior College. Another tough team. They're going to do great, though. We're expecting them to. I hope Coach Susi's listening. And then they'll be back home April 4th and 5th against Howard College. EPCC softball is 4-0 in the Western Junior College Athletic Conference after sweeping Frank Phillips this past weekend. So it's a great scene out there. I've been seeing Dr. Serrata out there, Judge Haggerty, so it's a very nice event, so I encourage everybody to go. Good afternoon, everybody. Chair Haggerty, Dr. Serrata, board members, colleagues, committee members. I'm happy to join you all this afternoon to provide you all with an enrollment update for the spring 2025 semester and to share a few division initiatives that support our enrollment and student success goals. I'm going to note, because I'm coming from Student Enrollment Services, that this work is a college-wide work, right? Enrollment. We refer to your messaging a lot, Dr. Graham, that we are all recruiters, we're all responsible for enrollment at the college. So it's the daily work of the faculty, staff, leadership, my cabinet colleagues, their respective division leadership, Dr. Serrata's leadership and support and guidance provided by the Board of Trustees that contribute to the results we see today. So, Dr. Serrata's just spoiled my surprise, but I'm just kidding. So I figured I was going to start with this, right? We're going to kick off by sharing this great news. This spring enrollment is showing a 5% increase over 2024. We're up over 24,000 students as of last week, which is really great. And I put that little applause emoji, not expecting the audience to applaud or anything, but or to think about that, right? Thank you. You're applauding for yourselves and all the good work that you're doing. So if you look at the enrollment figure up there, what you can see is this showing the different student types. Our continuing students represent 54% of our enrollment, and then early college, high school, P-Tech, and dual credit enrollment represent another 39%. So the majority of our enrollment goes to continuing students and early college, P-Tech, and dual credit enrollment. If we continue looking at student type, you could see we have significant gains in continuing students, which is a marker that we always look at. So those are students that are already enrolled at the college. And what they're doing is they're showing us that the good work that our faculty and staff are doing merits them returning. So up, almost 400 students over the previous semester. We also see strong enrollment in dual credit, early college, high school, P-Tech, et cetera. So we're doing really well in these individual areas, and we continue to see that we're providing great opportunities for the students out at the ISDs. If we just look at what spring enrollment has looked like over the past four semesters, we can look at this trend and see that from spring 2022 up till now, we keep seeing that increased enrollment. 22,406 in 22, up to 24,006 students as of spring 2025. We had just started our we're just starting our new semester, so the number has increased a little bit since then. Breaking this down by campus enrollment, likewise, we're looking at this spring, and you could see, for the most part, our campuses are showing great improvement. Look at Trans Mountain at 12% up, Mission El Paso at 7% up, and then dual credit early college P-Tech at 14% up. So we're seeing significant, and online also growing, so up 1%. We're seeing significant improvement across our campuses. And looking at how our students are enrolling, full-time enrollment grew by over 4% in 2024. Those are the short of the bars, the teal bars. That's a great indicator because we want our students to try to attend full-time. We know that full-time enrollment contributes to student success. We also know that the majority of our students attend our part-time, and we still see that enrollment growth over 6% over 2024. Our major type, we're seeing, this is really concurrent. This is a great example. We have 5% increase in both academic and technical enrollment, which matches our 5% growth. And then by degree type, we're seeing gains in Associate of Applied Science, which is on the far left, Associate of Arts, up by 9% because we continue to see that growth in the early college area, and those are the awards those are the majors those students are signing up for. Associate of Arts in Teaching. Associate of Science, you can see, continues to decrease. It's been a steady decrease, 10% over the last 4 years. Certificate of Completions continue to increase. And that undeclared is up by a few students. So it's very few students, so a small number makes that percentage grow. So we try to get the students to declare, to say what they're going to want to study, but I always think those students have a lot of opportunities. They're not quite sure what they're going to do, and we'll get them on a pathway shortly. In instructional mode, I think this is a really great one in that the deans can attest to, and anybody who's been on the campuses, is that you see the parking lots a lot fuller. You see people walking around, you see a lot more life, and the students are voting that way in those face-to-face classes. So we see up 6% face-to-face and 6% hybrid. And that's a testament to the work that's going on at the Mission del Paso campus with the 8-week sections, the increase in hybrid classes. And then online, you could see, not as high as where we were in 22, but a slight increase over the previous year. And then in age groups, this is a really interesting one too, that we get to see that this is also a very recent phenomenon where we see all the age groups. You can see our bread and butter is on the far left side of the figure, but we did see a gain in enrollment in all the age groups for all the students that we serve. And then wrapping up this enrollment report is, what's the most challenging item for students? It's how to pay for school. And one of the things that you're going to notice is, well, let's think back last year. Last year there was the big FAFSA issue, delays, challenges with when it was going to come out and not understanding the new processes. It was the new form. This past year, a little bit of a delay, but I'm going to give a lot of credit here. We have a great leader in our financial aid and Veterans Affairs area, Miss Ines Lopez, who steered the ship, made sure that we served our students properly, and they never had those big hiccups. And you can see that in that table, there's two rows. That Pell Grants offered, you can see, continues to grow. All students graduating from high school are required to complete FAFSA as a graduation requirement. And then they submit it to EPCC and UTEP as well. So we get a lot of students submitting them to us. The important line is the second one, the Pell Grants paid. And you can see it increasing every year. A significant jump this past year, almost $23 million paid out, which represents a over $3 million increase from the previous year. 16% difference from the previous year, which far exceeds the 5% enrollment increase. So our students need this aid. We can see 88% of our students receive financial aid, and this is demonstrating that we're helping them get that aid as they need it. So that wraps up just the basic enrollment. You can look at the numbers, but then you would ask me, I'll anticipate this, right? You would say, so what do we do to support this enrollment? And I told you, it's a college-wide effort, but I'll speak to a few things. And this is Division of Student and Enrollment Services. my division, it's big, but I'm not going to go through that whole list. I'll just highlight a few of the areas that I think really stand out or make a big impact. I'll start, since I ended with financial aid, I'll start with financial aid. So as I mentioned, this area is directed by Ms. Ines Lopez, Executive Director of Student Financial Aid and Veterans Affairs. And so we get out in the community, and this is just one example. This past spring, we typically do it in the fall, but because of the delay in the FAFSA, we did it in the spring. We work along with our partners at the University of Texas at El Paso and Texas Tech, and we hold 54 different FAFSA night events. That means these are in the evening. We send teams out to these schools, and they meet with the community directly. So they're there to assist the students and their families, importantly, navigate the financial aid process. It ran from the end of January to the end of February. And then it all wraps up. We just wrapped it up this past Saturday. And this is really, excuse me, also a story of partnerships. I mentioned our higher ed partners, also Education Service Center Region 19. They host us at the Boeing office this past Saturday, where we open up this financial aid workshop to the entire El Paso community. And our specialists, and also from the other schools, come together and assist these families. So it was a great event. And we're going to continue doing this. And I'll let you know also, if something happened that day where we have these financial aid experts from these 3 institutions sitting down, looking at the data, trying to solve these problems and see how we can better serve our students. Continuing with this, this is the area that maybe most of you all are familiar with, and that's the recruitment services, led by our Director of Recruitment Services, Mr. Michael Talamantes, who's done a fantastic job. You can see the list of items under his area. I'm not going to even go through them all, but I'll tell you, he's brought the college together through the EPCC recruitment network. He's held our signature EPCC Roundup event, which is our parent-focused event, hosted this past spring at the Socorro Independent School District Service Center, open to everybody. So we give credit, another example of our partnerships. It's open to the entire El Paso community, where we bring all our services plus opportunities for students. He's also run several open houses, so you can talk to the deans, health and CTE earlier this year, nursing, the STEAM open house at Valle Verde, the welcome days as students return every semester. So we are out and about, as well as messaging students. So we have the ability to text message students through Student Bridge and have a call center for making calls to reach out to them as well. Our admissions and registration department, run by Executive Director Cassandra La Chica Chavez. Dr. La Chica Chavez does an amazing job because she not only oversees that area, but also the dual credit early college and P-TECH enrollment on the student services side. Likewise, students have a requirement to submit an Apply Texas application upon graduation, or before graduation. So you can see, I just gave you some numbers of the amount of applications that we process and what we do. We're that front-facing direct connection with the student in processing their application and their enrollment. So customer service is number one. But really in this area, what I wanted to do is focus on some of the work that we're doing internally. So we've worked with AVP Fernandez and his team to develop this EPCC dual credit early college K through 12 app. We have a relatively small team, 5 specialists, admission specialists dedicated to processing the 39% of enrollment that we have from dual credit early college and P-TECH. And so you can imagine the school districts have to send us rosters, and it's a lot of manual processes. We're working to automate that, have the team from IT assisting with that. So we're in version 2.0. Version 3.0 is coming up very quickly. That's going to connect everything to Banner and let students register. So we're seeing good things happen. And then finally, I'm going to wrap it up here, which is what's going on right now. Our signature premier enrollment initiative for first-time in college students. So I've presented to the board before, but I know we have Mr. Mendez. I might have shared this during the board orientation, but this is when we get out to all the school districts So we're going to have 22 events. We kicked it off this past Monday. We were already at Harmony Charter, and they bust in El Paso Leadership Academy and Idea Schools. That was Monday. Yesterday we were at Fabens, and then Tornillo and Sanelli visited Fabens. Today we are at Jefferson, and Burgess and Silva Magnet visited. And tomorrow we're at Socorro High School. And you could see all the dates. So we have, after tomorrow, we'll have 18 more dates left, so 19 dates left. This is really a roadshow. We take our first year experience, so thank you very much to Sandra Lujan and her team, Dr. Mitchell supporting that advises the students. Then they see our admissions team, they see our financial aid team, new student orientation, recruitment runs it all. And students leave, here's the great thing, they leave that day, hopefully, with a full-time schedule in hand, ready for the fall semester. So lots of great things going on at the college, lots of enrollment and initiatives. We're always happy to take your advice, any items that you might suggest, anything that you think that we can do to get out in the community or help improve our enrollment. Thank you for all your support, and I'll turn it over for any questions.
Great job, Dr.
Oh, good job. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I don't have much of a question, but I'd like to congratulate you all. It's an excellent teamwork. I've seen it as a team, and I know Mr. Talamantes said, I'll call him with a short notice, and he'll show up with his team, to certain events that I didn't realize nobody had mentioned. But that's great to see the effort. One question I do have is, are we sending any letters, like to the juniors or the sophomores, to let them know that, because, again, we are all recruiters, but I think we need to start recruiting at pre-kinder so
Right.
that, they can be headed in our direction. But because some of the people that I talk to get all excited because they get a letter from some college. Do we do any of those anymore?
Well, we don't send direct letters. That's a great idea. We do have communication with the schools in the high school because we work directly with their college and career readiness specialists, or, that whole group. We do have a CRM coming on board. You all approved that just recently. So that's going to assist us with our messaging and direct messaging to the students. So that is coming soon. And I didn't share that right now. You mentioned reaching out to students in kindergarten. Under our recruitment area, we have our college readiness mentors, and they work directly with the adopted schools. So that group of adopted schools are really getting a lot of EPCC.
And that's where I've seen some of the parents that come in with, saying that their kid is going to go to EPCC, and there's events there where they're coming in to sign up or something, but they have the little ones with them. And it's a great connection there for the little ones to see that the older ones are signing up for EPCC.
Absolutely.
I have one question, Doc.
Yes, sir.
Can you go back to the second slide, please? What slide was I looking at? You're looking at next one? There was you had some over to the side. Everything was a plus, except I thought I saw a minus 12%.
Yeah, there's a couple. Early admission, you can
Yeah.
see down one student.
And what's that? What's the reason?
What?
What's the reason for that?
I don't know. I mean, it's one, so the numbers on the side represent we're down one student. So there are very few students on that side. These are students that apply that are in high school and are going to apply for early admission outside of their normal school district. We have a few over here, first-time transfers. That's a few students, to 78 students down. I wouldn't be able to tell you the reason why we were down in those couple of areas.
And what's undetermined?
Those are students who we don't know what it is or don't declare where they're going to be, or what type of student they are. So we fix that later on. We're able to identify these students, but in this initial report, they end up right there.
You ought to put the first-time transfer with the and then it'll show a 12% increase.
Right.
I was just wondering why it was a negative there. And you have early admission -6.
Yeah, one
one
student down. Yes, sir.
Wow.
There are very few. That's why it has such a big impact.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Keep up the great work. That's great.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Mike.
Okay, I'll let these guys do it.
Section 1.9, Board of Trustees Business. Items 1.9.1, 1.9.2, and 1.9.3 will be discussed after executive session. Section 1.10, Board Reports. Item 1.10.1, Treasurer's Report. No action is required. Item 1.10.1.1, February 28, 2025, Financial Statements. Item 1.10.2, President's Report. Item 1.10.2.1, Dr. William Serrata, College President, will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at El Paso Community College.
Good evening, Chair Haggerty and members of the board. I'd like to begin my report by congratulating Ingrid Leiva, photographer, and Mr. Miguel Valenzuela, art instructor, for having their art showcased at the Mexican-American Cultural Center. This accomplishment is proof of their exceptional talent and dedication to their craft. Having their work displayed at such a respected venue highlights their artistic achievements and reflects positively on the college's commitment to supporting creative excellence. We're incredibly proud of them and their contributions. The art department held its first event in Shaping Narratives Visiting Museum Professional Series on February the 20th. The first museum professional was Rebecca Munoz, the inaugural director of the forthcoming Mexican Cultural Center, who addressed a packed audience at the Valle Verde campus. She provided valuable insights into careers and the Cultural Center's future. 2 more presentations from professionals representing the El Paso Museum of Art and NMSU Art Museum will follow this semester, and they're supported by the Spring Arts Festival grant awarded to EPCC and overseen by Isadora Jackson, Associate Professor of Art at the Valle Verde campus. We're excited to share that our Philosophy and Sociology outreach event held on March 5th was a tremendous success. Coordinated by our faculty, Yvette Navarro and Erin Alvarez, the donation drive supported by the women of the Villa Maria, a local transitional shelter in honor of International Women's Day. Initiated by Stacy Mayo and Dr. Manuela Gomez, the event resulted in over 1,000 donated items, including canned goods, toiletries, and personal care items generously contributed by the EPCC community. Thank you to the Philosophy and Sociology faculty and everyone who participated. The EPCC Forum Theater presented Oh Dad, Poor Dad, Mama's Hung You in the Closet, and I'm Feeling So Sad. I tried my alliteration there. The production was directed by Carver and designed for the stage by Dominic Pagano. Many thanks to all involved for putting on a great performance and all the work involved in making that possible. Spring's a vibrant time for the arts at EPCC. This month, we enjoyed the music department's student ensembles concert and the Spring Arts Festival open house featuring music, photography, literature, dance, and more. The month wraps up with the Visiting Art Curator Series on March 27th at the Valle Verde campus featuring Michael Reyes, Rebecca Munoz, and Jasmine Herrera, all influential curators with local ties. The series will also be live streamed for remote access. On January 25th, the EPCC Echocardiography program presented an exhibit at the 13th Annual Mother-Daughter Conference at America's High School. The conference was great, and it was the most significant event the program has attended thus far. Program also successfully launched the Trigesis medical record and attendance tracking system, enhancing clinical operational efficiency. The program also began utilizing 2 new Carl Perkins-funded linear array transducers to accommodate a larger class size of 12 students in the lab as they learn vascular scanning. Thank you for your continued support of our program's growth and aspirations towards excellence. The Rio Grande Biology Department enthusiastically participated in the Health, Career Technical Education, and STEM Division Open House on Thursday, February 13th. They took the opportunity to showcase the biology discipline's resources, including the Anatomage and Z-Space, and promote the various programs by encouraging and interacting with high school and middle school students. Special thanks to Dr. Miguel Vasquez, Roshanak Jafari, Ashley Payan, and Janeth Rodriguez. The 18th Annual Regional Science Bowl was held on February the 8th at the Trans Mountain Early College High School won the competition. This recognition will allow students to attend the national competition in April in Washington, D.C. All expenses will be paid by the Department of Energy. The ASHP ACPE Board of Directors has granted the El Paso Community College Pharmacy Technician Education Program a 6-year reaccreditation status through 2030. Special thanks and appreciation are for Dr. Nader Rasai and his dedicated faculty for their efforts in developing and maintaining successful pharmacy tech training and producing future pharmacy technicians in the community. Congratulations on the great work. Campus Life, New Student Orientation, Student Government Association, Student Leadership, and the cross-country team volunteers assisted in distributing food, including canned goods, boxed items, fruits, and vegetables to nearly 200 people from the El Paso Community College community and beyond. The college partnered with El Pasoans Fighting Hunger this month for another successful grocery pickup event at the Valle Verde campus cafeteria annex. The next grocery pickup event will take place on Friday, March 28th of this year at 10 a.m. at the Mission del Paso campus Horseshoe Building. The event is open to students, faculty, staff, and the wider community. Thank you to all those involved in this initiative to combat food insecurity district-wide. Chair Haggerty, that concludes my report. I'm happy to respond to any questions that the board may have.
No questions for the doc? Thanks, Doc.
Item 1.11, consent docket, there is none. Section 2, administration. Item 2.1, FFDA local TASB policy for second reading and approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Mendez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 3, personnel. Item 3.1, institutionally, externally funded full-time staff appointments, extensions, resignations, and retirements. No action is required. Item 3.2, tenure track faculty appointments and new tenured faculty.
Motion.
Motion to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the question, Ro?
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Mendez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 4, financial services. Item 4.1, discussion and action to approve an increase to Weaver and Tidwell LLP for providing internal audit services to El Paso Community College in an additional amount of $13,000 to previously approved $75,000.
Move to approve, but I do have a question.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead with your question, Doc.
Did we get a clear idea as to why the increase, Dr. Serrata?
Yeah, I'll ask Mr. Flores to respond. Dr. Graham, please. Vice President Flores.
Sure, thank you, Dr. Serrata. So Weaver Tidwell was employed in July of 26th of 2024, and so their first assignment was to test our compliance with SB 17. They completed that audit and presented to the board at the February board meeting the results of the SB 17 audit. There was still a remaining balance in the $75,000 annual budget amount, so they began a study of risk assessment from which future audit plans would be derived. So they've conducted some initial training. In January, they provided a webinar to the cabinet members, a 1-hour webinar on risk assessment. Then in February, they conducted a 4-hour workshop to the cabinet on developing risk assessment. To complete that assignment for risk assessment evaluation, we anticipate that there will be some more expenses, which $13,000 would cover. So they're completing the risk assessment, and then they are going to make a presentation to the board on the risk assessment review that they did and the audit plan, which will guide the next 3 years of audits.
So hopefully there'll be savings there to recover that 13,000 additional.
Hopefully as a result of their audits, yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I guess I don't understand. We had an initial project that was approved for 75,000, and it was completed for less than 75,000. So we assumed a second responsibility that wasn't outlined, and now we want to pay $13,000 more for something that wasn't in the original contract, but we decided just to do it anyway. Did I miss something out of all this?
So the original contract runs from July 2024 to July 2025. Those bridge
What was the objective of that $75,000? What was that to cover?
to provide any audit services that the college may deem necessary.
Okay, and
of
so
which
you're.
risk assessment.
So you're piggybacking an additional requirement of risk assessment
Yes,
onto
sir.
the original contract?
That's correct, sir. Yes.
I do have a question. This is all put out to bid, right? These guys
sir.
don't automatically
They
give.
were awarded a 5-year contract with 1-year annual renewals based upon satisfactory performance.
But they did bid for it.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
All right, just checking, okay.
And there were a lot of respondents to that.
Did you have any, like, areas that you were surprised when they did the risk assessment?
While the risk assessment is hugely comprehensive, I think the cabinet members would attest to that. It's a about 8-page document that identifies all the key areas based upon Weaver Tidwell's experience in auditing that are potential areas for audit risk, and the cabinet rated them on probability and inherent risk. And so as a result of all of those areas being rated, Dr. Graham, over those 7 pages, they are working on a report as a result of that. That will inform the administration where the highest areas of risk are. The classic areas, of course, are security in IT, security surrounding funds, revenues, those kind of things. But their risk assessment is hugely comprehensive. It was a 4-hour workshop. Each cabinet member provided input onto the weights associated with each of those categories. And so this is how Weaver Tidwell is able to assess the institutional risk as a whole. Resulting from that, based upon those weights, then future audits will be identified.
Where did facilities fall into that risk management?
It was one of the areas. So facilities presents its own challenges because of deferred maintenance.
That's what I'm.
There were about 8 or 9 categories under facilities. Contract and construction management it was a big item. Facilities maintenance, deferred maintenance plans in the future, how you maintain the grounds. It's pretty extensive.
And we're gonna get a report on that when they come back and.
So that report, Chair Haggerty, is expected to be delivered to the board at the end of April,
Okay.
provided that the board approves the increase today. But it's
You know, I'm not a contract specialist, but it seems to me that if risk estimate is, as you said, is such a huge element, it seems to me that it should have been identified there. And if it's such a huge element and it hasn't been identified, then I wonder how how capable they are of then not being able to forecast the need for something like an additional $13,000 only 6 months ago. It's all of a sudden, something huge all of a sudden comes up, we need $13,000 that we didn't anticipate, but we're going to evaluate you on risk adjustment because we know what risks are, but they couldn't risk their own program. I don't understand all of that.
so a lot of that was dependent on how much the SB 17 audit would come out to. Had the
Okay, so we're saying that maybe they didn't understand the SBC audit in the first place, and so they weren't able to properly risk that.
Ultimately, the SB 17 cost of that audit was dependent on the extent of their review of our college and unique policies and procedures. So
Isn't that a risk? That's defined as a risk, and they missed it. So how good are they at risk adjustment if they can't even figure out how much they're going to need to do what it is they said they were going to do? I mean, how much faith can we put in that?
I don't know.
I don't have any more questions. If they don't know what they're doing, I don't know if I want to vote for $13,000 for them to pay more to do something they couldn't do in the first place, nor could they identify.
Yeah, the only thing I would respond, Mr. Uxer, is that SB 17 was a new law that passed in the 88th legislative session. All institutions are conducting compliance audits with SB 17. I think it's dependent on, it's something new that auditors were not familiar with, and the level and depth of what is required with regards to SB 17 was surprising to even some of us in the field as a new law. And that would be the explanation that I'd provide for them on the extent and how extensive they got into reviewing SB 17. If you'll recall, they provided some examples of where initially there was evidence of non-compliance with SB 17 that we then had to remove or change language to some of our websites, some of our postings around campus, and some of the areas. And they'd have to determine whether it was in conflict with federal law versus state law. So I do give them a tiny bit of leeway with regards to SB 17, sir.
Well, and it's a good thing that it took place because you'll have a better idea the next time that there's the same type of audit. But move to approve?
I think we already did that. Didn't we already do all
We
that?
did? You had a second.
Call a question, Bill.
Mr. Uxer,
Pass.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Mendez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 5, physical facilities, there is none. Section 6, curriculum and instruction. Item 6.1, discussion and action to affirm a 3-year contract with Education to Go, Ed2Go, a division of Cengage Learning, Inc., to provide online continuing education courses in an amount not to exceed $80,000 per year.
They sure offer a lot of courses. Did we have these services before, Dr. Serrata?
Dr. Graham, we've had the contract with Ed2Go for quite a while. I believe we started that in 2018. Don't quote me on that, but we've had it for a very long time. And it gives us the opportunity
It just looks like
to,
they added more courses to it.
absolutely.
That's what I meant,
Yeah.
that now
I got you.
there's comprehensive, like a lot more
Yeah.
than before.
And it allows us to offer any number of courses that we do not have the capacity internally to offer.
Move to approve?
Have a second?
Mrs. Robles, second.
Any discussion? Call a question, Bill.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Mendez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 6.2, discussion and action on the acceptance of a grant award from the Texas Mutual Insurance Company in the amount of $100,000.
Move to approve 6.2 and 6.3.
Second?
Read 6.3, Bill.
Was another grant.
Item 6.3, discussion and action on the acceptance of a grant award from the Texas Workforce Commission, TWC, in the amount of $85,521.
Judge Haggard, I'd obviously call on Dr. Smith to provide credit for these respective grants.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Serrata. So those of us that are well-read will see that this is the 11th year of our Texas Mutual grant, and if my math is correct, that brings us to $1.1 million of grants from Texas Mutual. We've served over 20,000 individuals in the community, training them on safety in the workplace, all free of charge to those attendees. So it's a great program, and we certainly thank Texas Mutual, in addition to, of course, AVP Blaine Primozic and his crew, Jose Casa Lopez, I think they're in the audience, and of course our grants office as well under Bob Elliott. So great job there. The TWC grant is the first SBDC grant that we're having with Bain Construction, so we're excited about that. Upskilling 102 different employees for them in our region. So congratulations again to those same players that I just mentioned.
I got a question, Dr. Smith. Is there any requirement? Do they just give you the money and let you guys decide how to train? Or do you have
The
to-
only requirement is that it's for workforce safety.
That's all it is?
That's it, yeah. And so we've created the Risk Management Institute here at the institution under the leadership of Ceci Maurer. And so she coordinates all the training and all the workshops and everything for the community.
So most of the money goes to pay for the instructors and the equipment?
Pretty much, yeah. The sessions, the space, the instructors, et cetera, yeah. There's some supplies in addition.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? Did we get a motion to?
Instruction, Dr. Graham.
We did? All right, call the question, Bill.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Mendez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 7, Student Services. Item 7.1, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education CE tuition rates for new courses.
Move to approve?
Any discussion? Call the question, Bill.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Mendez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Item 7.2, discussion and action on the approval of continuing education CE tuition rates for revised courses.
Have a motion?
Move to approve? Second.
Any discussion?
I have a quick question. Can you just, what are these tuition rates? How do they compare to, in-person classes, that kind of thing? I guess I should look.
Generally,
understand that, but I
Mr.
don't.
Uxer, these are much lower tuition rates than we would charge for credit courses at the institution. A lot of them are personal enrichment courses.
And we base that on,
We don't necessarily make money on these, so we attempt to break even for the instructor costs and supplies, et cetera. And that's why you'll see in some of the notes that there's a break-even number of students that we need to
okay,
offer
so
the
the
class.
purpose of this is community outreach as much as anything else?
Yes, sir, and I say generally because oftentimes we'll bring to the board new courses or revised courses that are applicable to training by TWC, et cetera. Those are charged at a little bit different rate.
Okay.
How do we determine like which courses are gonna be offered in the children's college area? Because like robotics and, some of the more innovative things.
Yeah, we try to monitor industry or community trends and mirror those. And so we have a vast history of what's made in the past and what sorts of things that students are interested in. Of course, we have great partnerships with the ISDs as well, so we kind of keep our finger on the pulse of what the community would like to see in regards to those things.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Call the question.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Mendez,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Section 8, Community Services, there is none. Would the board like to go into executive session?
Yes.
Item 1.3, Executive and Closed Session. The Board of Trustees may conduct an executive or closed session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following reasons. 1, consultation with its attorney to seek or receive legal advice or consultation regarding pending or contemplated litigation or for any purpose authorized by law. 2, discussion about the value or transfer of real property. 3, discussion about a prospective gift or donation. 4, consideration of specific personnel matters. 5, discussion about security, personnel, or devices. Or 6, discussion of certain economic development matters. The board may also announce that it will go into executive session on any item listed on this agenda if the subject matter is permitted for a closed session by provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Any vote regarding these items shall be taken in open session. Item 1.3.1, discussion with legal counsel regarding proposed board resolution to approve employee award and associated one-time prospective payments for such awards pursuant to Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.2, discussion with legal counsel regarding proposed resolution for the Student Success Endowment Fund pursuant to Section 551.073 of the Texas Government Code. Item 1.3.3, discussion with legal counsel regarding the possibility of EPCC joining the Rate 41 group to intervene in the El Paso Electric Company's current rate case. The time is now 5:44 and the board is in executive session.
Okay, the board is back out of executive session. We're back in regular session. Bill, can you read 1.9.1, please?
Yes, sir. Item 1.9.1, discussion and take possible action regarding proposed board resolution and approval of employee awards and associated one-time prospective payments for such awards.
I have a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Any discussion?
Excuse me. No discussion. The motion will be to incorporate the resolution into the minutes. And the motion includes for the reasons stated in the board's resolution of this date, I move to approve the prospective one-time incentive payments to eligible recipients of the awards in the amount stated in the board's resolution, and to authorize the administration to administer these awards and payments consistent with applicable law and policy. Again, this will be incorporated, the resolution, into the minutes for today's meeting.
Okay, any other questions?
You have a motion, you need a second.
Mr. Mendez
Oh, yes,
has a
second.
second.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have a motion and a second. Okay, if there are no more questions, call a question, Bill.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Mendez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye. Okay,
Item-
Bill, 1.9.2, there will be no action taken. Can you read 1.9.3?
Item 1.9.3, discussion and action regarding whether or not EPCC will join the Rate 41 group to intervene in the El Paso Electric Company's current rate case by entering into an interlocal agreement pursuant to the Interlocal Cooperation Act, Chapter 791, Texas Government Code, and a confirmation of engagement with K&L Gates LLP as legal counsel in connection therewith.
Have a motion?
I make a motion for EPCC to join the Rate Group 41 group to intervene in the El Paso Electric Company's current rate case by entering into an interlocal agreement pursuant to the Interlocal Cooperation Act.
Second the motion.
Any other discussion? Hearing no questions, go ahead and call the question, Bill.
Mr. Uxer. Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Mendez.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
All right, further board action, I just want to remind everyone, our next board meeting will be April the 30th at 4:30 right here in this room. And if there's no other business, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.